Hey there, this is Jennifer Dean from jenniferdeanwellness.com, and today you're joining me for a video about meal prep and in particular how to wash and store your vegetables. So a lot of women tell me that they would like to cook at home more. They would like to prepare healthy homemade dinners most nights of the week, but they just don't have time. So I've got a really simple tip for you today, and that's getting organized on Sundays. When you prepare yourself for the week ahead, you can just come home and everything's ready to go. The first step of meal prep is to wash and store your produce as soon as you bring it home from the market. So every Saturday or Sunday, my husband and I go to a farmer's market nearby our home, and we can buy a really wide selection of in-season organic produce for a super reasonable price. Plus it's local and we're supporting local, which I love. But as soon as we come home, before we put anything away, we wash, dry, and store everything. So that means in the week, we can just grab and go any of the vegetables that we want to be using, whether it's to make a meal or just to have a snack. So I'm going to share with you today 6 tips for storing your vegetables that will help prolong their shelf life and make them taste the absolute best that they can. So tip number 1 is to invest in a variety of sized glass Pyrex dishes. So we'll keep things like radishes and peas and ginger and chopped up vegetables like squash or butternut pumpkin or sweet potatoes, whatever it might be. Having access to stored glass storage containers with lids is going to make your life so much easier. You can put the lid on, you can stack them in your fridge, and it's going to help keep everything fresh. If you want a radish, you just grab the radish, it's clean, it's good to go. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to use gallon ziplock bags for your leafy greens and your herbs. I did create a video about how to wash and store your leafy greens last year, and I'll link to that below. But in case you don't get to go to that video, all you want to do is puncture a series of about 20 to 30 tiny holes in a gallon Ziploc bag using a sewing needle. Then once you've washed and dried your herbs or your leafy greens, or we'll use zucchini and cucumber as well, pop it in the bag, squeeze the air out and seal it tight. And I've noticed that in doing this trick, I probably get 5 or 6 extra days out of anything that I store in this way. It's kind of like creating another crisper or another vegetable drawer in your fridge. Super, super handy. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is about washing anything that has a skin. So think of avocado or lemons or something like a butternut squash like this. So even though you might think, well, I'm not eating the skin, why would I wash it? Anytime that you cut through this with the knife, you're taking any of the dirt and chemicals, if it's not organic, and pushing it into the flesh, which you are eating. So just give it a quick scrub and then you're good to go. Tip number 4 is using a jug or a glass to keep things fresh and hydrated. So anything that has a tendency to wilt, think things like asparagus or celery or carrots or scallions, pop just about an inch of water in the bottom of a glass jug and stick the stems in there. This is going to keep them fresh and for so much longer. And it also looks kind of pretty. Tip number 5 is about what you should store at room temperature and what you should store in the fridge. So I have a preference for storing tomatoes and stone fruit at room temperature because I think it tastes a lot better when it hasn't been refrigerated. Keep in mind though that if you do that, they will go off a little bit faster. So you probably want to use stone fruit and tomatoes earlier in the week. Then things like citrus fruit or apples, I'll keep in the fridge, no problem, and they'll last in there for a couple of weeks. The final tip for you today is on keeping your onions and your potatoes separated. So in the supermarket, they sell these 2 vegetables side by side, which is kind of crazy because when you do that, they both go off faster. So when you're at home, they both are stored at room temperature, but you can keep your potatoes and sweet potatoes in one bowl or basket and your onions and garlic in another bowl or basket, and just keep them a little bit away from each other in the kitchen. So I hope this has been helpful. It's just some quick tips to help you store your produce, but truly just getting it home, washing it, maybe chopping some of it up is going to make the world of difference for you to be able to pull together a quick meal. I hope you like this video, and if so, please do share it with your friends and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Then come on over to jenniferdeanwellness.com, where I'll be sharing new recipes, workouts, and lifestyle tips to help you feel a fit, feminine, and fabulous after 40. I can't wait to see you there.